Welcome to Lodging on Demand. In this episode, Lodging Editor-in-Chief Dennis Nessler sits down with Robert Stevenson, CEO of Intelity, to discuss some of the top operational challenges for hotel owners and operators. Stevenson also details ways to enhance the guest experience, as well as reducing labor-related costs through a robust technology platform.
Hi, this is Dennis Nessler, Editor-in-Chief of Lodging Magazine. Welcome to our podcast today, Operational Efficiency. I'm joined today by Robert Stevenson, CEO of Intelity, a leading guest experience platform. Robert, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me, Dennis.
It's our pleasure. Robert, why don't you start out? Tell me a little bit about the common challenges that hoteliers face when it comes to the operational efficiency and how technology can help enhance that.
Yeah, great question. So, hoteliers behind the scenes, it really guest facing. You try to make it all beautiful and perfect, but behind the scenes, we all know that it's a bit of madness, particularly as you get larger and larger and larger hotels, and you can be kind of running around a little bit like a chicken with a head cut off, between service requests, work orders, day-to-day tasks, so the disaster that's happening on floor 3 or floor 15 or whatever it might be. And trying to tame some of that, software is really good at doing that. This is not a new thing for software and tech platforms to challenge, to tackle that kind of challenge. It really comes down to how can you organize your teams? How can you organize your departments? How can you organize the inbound flow? All of the sort of things that are coming at those teams, and keep it in a sort of managed, queued, really kind of organized sense of capability that the teams can then act upon either actively or times passively, right? Like, hey, this maintenance request has come in, definitely not as critical as the leak that's happening somewhere. We'll get to this maintenance request tomorrow, but it's passively sitting there. It's never forgotten. So, people call it ticketing engines, those kinds of things, but tech behind the scenes can definitely automate, definitely queue, prioritize, and help manage some of the operational chaos that happens behind the scenes.
Sure. You guys were kind enough to provide some statistics from hospitality in 2025, automated, intelligent, and more personal, new research study. 73% of guests more likely to stay at a hotel offering self-service technology to minimize contact. 39% want a fully contactless experience. 38% want fully self-service model with staff upon request. What do some of these numbers mean to you?
Yeah, I think as it relates to operational efficiency and sort of guest expectation, the times have really changed. I think the pandemic taught a lot of people, hey, look, I don't need to get in contact with everybody. I can do everything off my phone. I can do things through, a kiosk or other touch screens or different types of mechanisms. And for a lot of people, it's eye-opening. I actually like that experience. I don't necessarily want to go to the restaurant and sit down and have a big dialogue necessarily with the server. If I can just do it on my phone, I can just point to a menu. I can, been taught this from airlines for years and years, right? Who wants to go up and stand in that long line, checking in, right? When you can just walk up to a kiosk, get your bag, tag your bags, drop your bag off and walk away, right? So much better, so much easier. So a lot of people really do expect that. Behind the scenes, what that means from an operation standpoint is that flow still has to be taken care of, right? Somebody checking in, somebody ordering dining, somebody doing a valet request at a hotel, somebody, again, like we talked about, a maintenance request, an urgent maintenance request, all that stuff still needs to be dealt with. But the guest is definitely saying, hey, look, if you can give me a digital pathway to take care of that request, I'll do it for you. I'll help you automate it. And I actually prefer that because I don't really want to call downstairs and talk about the water leak I'm seeing out in the hallway. If I can just do a couple of quick taps or, quickly kind of engage and then disengage and do it at my leisure. That's my intent. Particularly if you're a leisure traveler or a business traveler in a hurry, you definitely want to expedite and not have to deal with a bunch of rigmarole in terms of the communication. That's what you're seeing in those stats. That's definitely the way it is.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times we hear and we associate technology with a less personalized experience, less hospitable experience, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the way we look at it and the way we've talked about it in Intelity has always been, you have options, right? You're not necessarily taking away the in-person experience. The guest who wants that, and particularly in certain situations, a leisure experience, you might be coming into a resort with your family for a whole week. You might want somebody to take you around the resort, show you the room, show you the amenities, those kinds of things. The experience of that same family, maybe the husband and wife are both working, traveling workers, And, business traveler, I bet you when they show up in the hotel, they just want to get in there, get their emails done, go to bed, be ready for the business meeting. The context really matters. And so providing a digital solution, you have both pathways, right? You're not getting rid of the old pathway, and the context of that old pathway really, really matters. Business class hotel, maybe human-to-human interaction, a little bit lower importance. Resort, maybe much higher importance. The digital doesn't take that away, right? It's just there as an option, and it allows the guest who really wants to engage digitally to do so. The guest who doesn't, don't download the app, don't touch the kiosk, don't mess around with the public signage that allows you to select which restaurant you're interested in or anything like that. Just don't engage.
Right. Is Checkin where you've seen the most change in the last few years?
Definitely. Checkin has been, it's been a very high contact area. And so in the pandemic, certainly the ability to bypass the front desk, as they say, we've been doing that for a while. We definitely perfected that on the Intelity platform during the pandemic. Big driver. A lot of people are annoyed by Checkin. If there's a long line, all the, back and forth, why do I need to show you my ID, credit card on file, not on file, all the different stuff, reg card, like you're literally going to hand me a reg card that says I shouldn't smoke in the room, and we're in 2023. Like, it just feels kind of like stale and old, right? So Checkin, very annoying to guests if they can get out of it, and a big driver for digital momentum. I think other things, the in-person touch is nice, right? We obviously support spa bookings and things like that, but kind of good to talk to the massage. I like a hard massage, and, I really want the Swedish, but I only want it for 45 minutes. And then I want to do a foot, a customized sort of situation that gets beyond what digital tools can kind of really allow. So there's definitely situations where I would say, mobility, Checkin, mobile key, all of that, big drivers. Other areas, maybe not so much.
I see. Right. In terms of staff and attracting and retaining talent, big issue for the industry. Technology can actually enhance that, correct?
Yeah, totally. I think for particularly workers in lodging and hoteliers, a lot of people left the industry. There's a big slow build back. I think it's been well publicized and talked about. And one of the challenges really for, I think, people behind the desk or working behind the scenes is, when there's no technology in place and the job is incredibly, transactional and difficult, and, you're not always dealing with the most pleasant situations, let's just say, not having a way to sort of help manage that coming from the hotel operation side makes life a lot difficult. It makes it very difficult, right? You can imagine a situation where you've got non-integrated dining, and you're in a hurried situation, taking down an order, but you've got something else going on, and that's on a Post-it note that's getting programmed into the POS in the kitchen. Not a lot of fun, right? So the ability to actually provide good software solutions, not just Intelity, but there are plenty on the market that can help labor management, also tying into ticketing, things like that we do, can make the hotelier and hotel staff life so much better, right? I don't even know how you could possibly run a large hotel today without a significant software presence on the back end.
Yeah, sure. We have seen as an industry in the last few years, things continue to kind of come back, and demand is coming back pretty much in full force now. What can hotels do? What steps should hotels implement to help increase their ability to service that?
Yeah, I think, really from a hotel standpoint, there's the back of house, there's kind of guest facing components. Intelity has the virtue, and that we can service both in one platform. I think hotels really start on the back of house. That's definitely, you're trying to secure your labor, trying to bring people back, trying to better manage your operations. Back of house is critical. And then you can migrate into the guest facing components. How do they fit into your operation? I would say they go hand in hand, right? If you build an operational process for, take our example earlier, Checkin, and you like to do it a certain way, you've got a certain property management system, you have a certain guest experience that you believe in and the way it should be handled. If you didn't try to jam guest experience software in later to deal with that, it may not be as easy to sort of deal with, right? It may be one of those things where, the software works this way. IDs and our sort of legal regulations work this way. Now we got to change our operations, and we had to train our team of 30 people. That can be very painful. So it should be thought about in tandem. But I would say, definitely getting back of house sort of straight, getting your operation software, your PMS in place first, and working and building off of that is the way to go.
Mm-hmm. How about measuring operational efficiency? What are some of the things that and some of the initiatives that hotels might want to take? What would you recommend there?
Yeah, for us, we actually track some of this in our platform, but time to close on a ticket, right? Service standards and bans, are they being met? Were things escalated? You can also you can drill down to an individual staff member, right? What is this team's performance? What is a particular staff member's performance? Perhaps somebody who's figured out, hey, this is a good way to, really do efficient checkouts. Perhaps that person can cross train other people to be really good and meet the service levels of the hotels. So those are key things. Looking at volumes is also important. Hey, we're getting a lot of. We actually did a study some years back with UCLA and a property. A relatively high-end property in Santa Monica and some adjacent properties. And we looked at their data, right? It's interesting, right? Maintenance requests, service requests will go up if there's rain going on, right? Like people are staying in the hotel. They're going to ask for more things, right? And so looking at your volume and matching your staffing levels to that volume and the nature of the volume, right? If you're in a situation with where you've got an event-specific hotel, you're obviously going to have more dining and those kinds of things while an event is going on, being able to be ready for the specific nature of those types of requests. Very important KPIs to also follow.
Sure, sure. How about data and business intelligence and being used to optimize hospitality and improve the customer experience?
Yeah, so definitely, we do some of this. There's definitely data companies out there that do even more than we do, but you can optimize against, anything. Just take a room service, is an easy one, IRD. Hey, what are your top items? What are your bottom items, right? Is there any price flexibility here? Is it like, hey, the key lime pie is selling really well and the pecan pie is not, but the key lime pie probably has an extra $1 or $2 that you could charge for it based on some analytics that the data is running. So you can optimize something, like IRD. You can optimize, again, your workforce to a degree, right? Hey, we can clear all our weekly maintenance stuff out Monday, Tuesdays. Maybe, we focus on more active type maintenance activities on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we staff accordingly, right? So maximizing, the labor force, but also potentially maximizing non-room revenue sources.
Mm-hmm. Robert, we only have a couple minutes left. Just wanted to get your what's your outlook for 2023 for the industry in general, and maybe more specifically for technology and platforms such as yours?
Yeah, no, a great question. I do think travel is, as you said earlier, basically back. We're not quite at pre-pandemic levels in every area, but looks like business is starting to return. Events has jumped up in a major way in the last 6 months. Leisure travel has peaked and exceeded in some cases pre-pandemic levels. So I think we're almost back, which is great. And then you can look forward to 2024 and on to exceeding pre-pandemic. So I think this is just really great news. And then, I would say, really from a technology standpoint, you were getting into a little bit of at the end, Dennis. I think really, how much can AI help? How much can business analytics help? There's definitely packages out there that can help ticketing and automation. There's a lot of people that are, playing in that sort of space. But, what does it do more than that, right? What can it offer in terms of insights? What can it offer in terms of simplifying the operational needs of the hotel? And, really cutting to the chase of like, how can we drive a more effective business, either from a cost side or from a revenue side? So I think people are looking beyond sort of the basics and looking at kind of the next tier of what, any particular platform is able to offer them.
Mm-hmm. And if I had to ask you maybe for three key takeaways for hoteliers from this, or maybe some pieces of advice or what have you that you might give, what would some of those be?
Yeah, no, I think we talked about a couple of them here. The operational efficiency issue, labor issue. There's definitely software platforms in place that can make that issue go down, not fully away, but certainly can help in a dramatic way. When you're selecting those platforms and thinking about them, think about the guest experience. The guest experience component should go hand in hand. If you get out of a lockstep, you're going to get into a weird state where, what your operations wants to do one thing, your guest experience wants to do something else. And, so embrace those kind of decisions holistically. And, absolutely, I think, in terms of what you're looking for out there, look for packages that offer complete solutions, but also packages that offer that kind of second level of like, okay, what business analytics am I going to get out of this? Does it do full mobile check-in? Can I bypass the front desk? Making sure that the robustness of the features in any area are really there to meet your needs.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, I appreciate your time today, Robert. Thanks so much. And good luck to you and Intelity for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Lodging on Demand. If you want more content like this, subscribe to Lodging Magazine on YouTube. You can also subscribe to Lodging on Demand wherever you get your podcasts. For news and updates, follow @Lodging Magazine on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or visit us at lodgingmagazine.com.